Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Dragon Warrior Randomizer Tournament for 2018. We are into the round of 16 tonight with a great matchup between JackimusWedge and TristalMTG. JackimusWedge has the 5 seed in this bracket format, and he got there by obtaining a 4-1 record by defeating the tie-dye guy in his opening match, and then winning against Tyrannex and winning once again against Angry Larry. Finally dropped his 4th round matchup in a close one against Centroid 41, and then rebounded with a nice victory over Nest Cardinality in his 5th round to go 4-1, giving him the 1st round bye and the number 5 seed. And he's up against TristalMTG, who took a little bit of a different route to get here. He is the one that if there's a way to just barely make it into the tournament, he found that way, as Tristal had a rocky road going 2-3 in the Swiss format, first defeating Captain Green 7, but then losing in his 2nd round to Nest Cardinality, losing again in his 3rd round to Weejui, bouncing back to defeat Shubinator in the 4th round, and then dropping his 5th round to Mr. Holmes. The 2-3 record enabled him to play in the last chance play-in race, where just 3 out of 13 racers were going to be granted a spot into the bracket stage of the tournament, and he came in 3rd place, just barely making it in, but he made it, and then he won in the 1st round over the 12th seeded Tyrannex. So we have the 21 seeded TristalMTG and the number 5 Jackimus, and they're getting started. What's going on, the Seawolf? How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Doing our little extra last-minute coverage, but hey, more chance to have fun. We're seeing a good race here. Tristal may have snuck into the tournament, but take him lightly. I dare you. Just don't do it.
So first decision of the tournament here, or the race here, they're going to have a strength score of 9, and they have some gold to start off with, as well as the early death necklace, which could potentially be sold for 1,200. And Tristal not even bothered creating a save file here. He's just going to go out exploring, and Jackimus looks to be doing the same. At a strength score of 9, you could pretty comfortably defeat Drakeys and maybe even Ghosts, but probably not the Wolf unless you have...
Yeah, except strength doesn't matter when you have Hurt More.
The Hurt More spell. So we got a fast start brewing. The Wolf is pretty much exactly what you want when you're on level 1, because you have a pretty good chance at least of not being ambushed. And Jackimus is going through the early cave here in the dark.
Yeah, unfortunately, caves you bonk around, and if you know the way, you can bonk around pretty smoothly. Yes, Goldman might be a problem though. Yeah, okay.
Goldman has some resistance to Hurt More, if I recall, and it is strong enough to take him down in one shot. So Jackimus is going to lose half of that early gold, and he's going to go back out onto the map. Still at level 1. Tristal jumped all the way up to level 4 with that early wolf kill, and he went back in just to refresh that MP so that he could have more Hurt More spells at his disposal. So a quick lead for Tristal.
Alrighty, quick find Charlock. Close to the castle and blocking off part of that continent, so Charlock might actually be a roadblock to get to the other side of the map. We found the jerk. And we found a town. Tristal is doing all kinds of stuff.
And don't let that 21 seed by Tristal fool you. I feel like he's maybe getting ready to peak at the later stages of the tournament. Perhaps maybe a bit rusty in the first couple of rounds. Maybe he had some bad matchups as well, and he is pretty highly ranked on the Speedruns Live leaderboard, and so this is actually a juggernaut of a race. Both of these runners, top 5 or top 10 runners for sure, meeting in the round of 16 here, so we got a good one tonight.
Yeah, once you got past the whole mess of the brackets where people like me were around, once you got to here proper, the actual tournament part, everyone here is a celebrated, experienced runner of this game. Some of them have times in the actual game vanilla, some also have great results in their previous tournaments. Did well in Chaos as well. And luck is definitely a factor. I saw Jackimus fight that green dragon, which had been a whole bunch of levels, but into sleep, and then survive a hit, and it resisted Hurt More. So luck is a factor. You can do really good, have a good opportunity, and then one bad roll of the dice can really throw you off for half the seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, like you said, some of these early Hurt More seeds, you could get ambushed. You could like a green dragon sometimes goes down in one hit and sometimes doesn't. For example, a lot of funky things could happen in these first few levels. So Jackimus has Caitlin while Tristal revisits Cole. I guess he picked up the flute on the search spot. Is that correct? And now he's got the chain mail. I guess he also got the copper sword as well, but he won't be using that a whole lot. He's going to be going with the Hurtmore mostly. But the chainmail will let him defense break some of the earlier enemies much more quickly, and maybe avoid getting ambushed just a bit more. So that's a nice pickup for Tristal. Yeah, Jackimus now has donned the dragon scale, and see if he picks up any other equipment.
Alrighty, he's in Caitlin as well, so yeah, made a chance to find gear. The big sword there, which is not as important with the Hurtmore seed. There's a chance. Chat is...
Doesn't even bother picking up the clothes. Not worth his time.
And chat is saying there's a rumor of Hillmore at level 5. Ooh.
Yeah, so Tristal decided to take the long way around to pick up some items. Some people don't like going to the shop because it's a bit of a walk, but when it's the first town and you're on the early levels and you want to get started on, and maybe you don't have the healing spells yet, I'm not sure yet if he does, but picking up some herbs is pretty useful to be able to explore the map. And he does don the scale as well.
Now, speaking of bad luck, JackimusWedge is fighting a magician who either ambushed or somehow got the first shot in and had Dragon Lord breath. So you think you have an easy win for experience points, and the game says no.
Yeah, and he's trying not to waste the one Hurtmore that he has on at his disposal on these scorpions and magicians. He wants to wait for something a little better. But meanwhile, he's running away from a lot of enemies, and he does use the sleep spell here. And this Magidrake, he would be enough to get to level 4.
Tristal only has a green dragon and has better luck. 2 Hurtmores go through, and Dragon casts Hurt instead of Sleep, letting him pass by.
Ooh, that's really good to know. If the green dragon casts Hurt, they might want to go after these guys pretty early on. And that's a huge boost for Tristal.
Green dragon's problem is the other spell he has is Sleep. So it's either Sleep and punch you, or Sleep and hurt.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. So I think there was a torch there in that first box. He's going to attempt to clear this mountain cave in one go here, but he's down to just 11 MP at his disposal. So that's 2 Hurtmores and a pile of herbs to see if he can get through this.
Yeah, Mountain Cave is nice because it's all pretty close to the start. You can grab a few oddball things. And Fairy Water can help you here. The chests are all open, there's no doors. Oh, never mind.
And Jackimus grabs his flute off the search spot and moves on. Red Dragon putting an end to Tristal's exploration. So able to get to 2 out of the 5 chests. So it's a question whether he wants to revisit that immediately or move in a different direction. One of the nice things about clearing that out is if there's a key in there, that could really get you started as far as opening additional locations. So he may end up going back in there. We'll see.
And level 6, we've seen the chainmail do work at level 6. Tristal's already breaking the scorpion to do no damage to them. Ooh, Golem has sleep as well.
Golem has sleep, and he's got the 55-point attack. That will give you a headache, and he's going to wake up next to the king. Wow. So a bit of a rough start for Jackimus. The early Hurtmore traditionally goes a little bit faster than this, but he's run into some tough enemies.
Enemies with some bad luck, like his dragon survived.
Bad luck. Absolutely.
Level 7 for Tristal is an obnoxious level. It was like 10 points per stat. It was a huge game in all areas. Now Tristal learns that Green Dragon also has sleep.
I'm trying to figure out what cave this is that Jackimus is doing in the dark, because I did not see the... Okay, there it is. So it's still the mountain cave. I had expected him to walk across that little staircase, sometimes you can tell, but he had taken a wrong turn, and so then he uses his torch to figure out where he's at. And Star Wyvern, I believe, also has hurt, is that correct? But unfortunately, he has a big attack as well, so it's tough. If Jackimus could just take down one of those big enemies with the Hurtmore spell, it would really move him forward, but just no luck yet with any of those fights.
Yeah, the 4 to 8 differential for experience points is not big. 2 big fights will get you back right in the 3 things for experience points. Endgame becomes much more difficult, like to make up a level or 2. Early game, yeah, just lucky roll of dice against a strong enemy, with Hurtmore especially.
Yeah, It's tough because when you run into these Star Wyvern and Green Dragon and things like that, they half the time go down to 1 hurt more, and sometimes they survive a hurt more, and sometimes they ambush you on these early levels as well. And right now, they the agility's not quite there, so you still can get ambushed, and they also just don't have the HP on these early levels. So if he could just get lucky and get through a couple of those battles, he'll be up to level 6 or 7, and all of a sudden he'll have more HP, he'll have more agility. Just makes things a lot easier to survive those battles. But right now, just some tough luck. And Tristal's already up to level 8.
Yeah, as hurt more, heal more early on is great, but as Zycon once said, the problem is the spells are shackled to your mid-level self.
Yeah, this is like 1 level per minute for Tristal so far. I would expect that pace to slow down now, but we're not going to finish the seed in 16 minutes, but so far, so good. Another Green Dragon kill in 1 shot for Tristal, so things are going nicely for him.
Yeah, Tristal at the point now in this mountain cave where, basically from what we've seen, the Red Dragon's the only threat. Everything else in the cave is easy prey.
And he's going directly for the chest that he missed. Mountain Cave does have 2 different zones, and the bottom level has the Red Dragon. And he's able to run from the Red Dragon with just 52 agility, which is maybe like I want to say like not even a 30% chance of doing so.
Yeah, it's a rough go, but...
So we got some Triss luck going on in the early game. He does make it to those 2 chests. I don't know if he caught what was in there.
Gold, I think a torch.
And we see the Red Dragon on Jack's side has had the last laugh in that situation. So... here we go. Both runners trying to clear out that first major dungeon. If we can get to all 5 chests, we'll know if we have some quick keys or a quick sword, or if we're just going to continue on looking for more locations on the map.
There we go. We have gold cursed belt, my apologies. And hopefully the big chest, the last chest should be right here with Tristal. Wings. Totally useless.
Yeah, there wasn't much in that entire dungeon, unfortunately, for both runners. But Tristal's done with it, while Jack is going to continue going in here. And so that will give Tristal an early exploration advantage.
I mean, to be fair, Tristal did find about 4 levels in there.
Absolutely, is actually very close to level 9 already as well.
I'm seeing on Jack's side with the Hurt More and the Star Wyvern. Star Wyvern has a hit HP range, and Hurt More has a damage range. If both are low, you can get lucky. If one goes high, you can have a, it can surprise you. But Jack hitting level 7 now, that huge gain.
Tristal goes ahead and reopens the Fairy Water chest just to gain an additional Fairy Water. Might make use of that in the early game if they don't yet have Repel. He is getting ready to explore more of this map. And I guess they probably don't have the outside spell because he's walking out and picks up level 9 on the way. And he does have another spell, but he doesn't check it just yet.
The question stands now. Tristal obviously wanted to get the experience points, and may want to save the gold. But he basically found Red Dragon right after that last chest and could have died instantly if he wanted to. So he chose to walk back and forth.
Yeah, he's looking like he's just walking back and forth in here, wants to farm the upper level enemies like the Star Wyvern, and I think, was there a Green Dragon in here as well?
Yeah, Green Dragon, Star Wyvern, Gold Man.
Yes, this is actually a nice early grind spot for Tristal. He looks like he's just going to continue with this until he gets taken out, but another Hurt More should mop him up. So another quick 105 for Tristal, and if he takes a Death Warp from here, he'll start from the castle and maybe pick a different direction.
No shame in that. JackimusWedge finds a golem. So downstairs is a golem, a scorpion, a red dragon, a metal scorpion. So downstairs is much more angry.
Yeah, fortunately the golems are a bit slow and probably not going to ambush you or block you, but if they do, looks like they have the sleep spell in this one, was that right? And the big fist, so...
Yeah, sleep and fist.
Kind of ugly.
You would hope for like soft spell or hurt, something nice and tame. Baby breath would be nice. When they just show up there, they say, look at the shiny ball. What? And they punch you? No, you don't want that.
The Cursed Belt gives us just a little bit of information so far. Means that 2 of our 3 search spots will contain some sort of item. And we already saw the Fairy Flute on one of the search spots. So that still doesn't confirm yet that the token is on a spot because the armor is guaranteed to be on one of the 2 remaining spots, but it gives us a little bit more information. And he is exploring the rest of the map now. He has seen Charlock, and he's going to take a left turn through the swamp and towards the rest of the map.
And luckily for Tristal, it's a small swamp. You can go through the big part if you want to later on, but sometimes the map is blocked off by just like 8x8 swamp blocks, so you're kind of stuck taking damage. But at this level and with his spell ability, he should have no problem.
Yeah, I don't recall Tristal being in the town of Cantlin yet that Jack was in, but that is one of the important locations for one of the 2 remaining search spots. Unfortunately, you can't get the information you need from there without keys. So pretty quickly now, obtaining keys is going to be the next really important thing for them to try to do here.
Your Moldar is probably going to be a big find. Any more spare chests you can try to get lucky on. Both have now found the Silver Heart Cave, so Tristal should be close to Cantlin now. Whereas Jack is in Cantlin.
Yep, you need to find a series of locations just for the end game. That's the first one. Trade in the harp for the staff. There's another cave where you trade all your items in for the rainbow drop. And then, of course, you need to find Charlock. So a couple of those have already been found by our runners. And all the big stuff is available here in Brockenary. At least the Flame Sword and the Silver Shield I saw. And eventually you will find that Erdrick's armor. So really, that's kind of all you need. The big weapon and the big shield. If there is a gold grind available, he'll make note of this location.
Yes.
We don't know yet if there's gold in the treasury, but we'll find out as soon as they get keys.
Also, Cole had the Silver Shield as well, so big armor is easy access to the seed. Just a matter of having the money for it.
Meanwhile, Jack did manage to get off the ground, and he is much higher in terms of survivability with higher hit points, better agility. He's now able to get the initiative on these mid-range monsters like that Druid Lord he just took out, and he has progressed to level 8, while Tristal is getting close to level 10.
Tristal finds Garanham, which has magical armor.
It also had the large shield available, and he almost was able to afford it. It almost would make sense to just try and hurt more a couple of big enemies. Just go back in there for the large shield, because if there's no gold grind, that'll typically be the best that you can do in terms of shields. And unlike the weapon and the armor, you don't find a shield anywhere in the game. So buying a large shield at some point sometimes is really useful.
Yeah, somebody's Dragon Warrior, I'm not sure why. The Silver Shield is prohibitively expensive. It's like, I think the best sword is 98, which is kind of sensible, and the biggest shield is like 14.6. It's a huge chunk of money that you basically have to grind for at least a good, half hour to get money for.
Right. If you have a particularly easy seed and you never die, and you can just go all the way to the end of the game, just, without dying, then sometimes you can just get enough money the natural way to get the Silver Shield. But that's pretty much what it takes. You have to really, never die, and you have to grind a whole lot of levels. So
ooh, Tristal
typically that's not going to happen. But ooh, the Golem.
Tristal gets the Grave of Garanham and gambles on the Golem being slow to run. And the Golem said, "I have a better idea."
Yeah, they do have that flute. So that when the Golem has sleep, it might be useful to take that 8 seconds and just blow the flute, put the Golem to sleep. It's an automatic 100% chance of running away if your enemy is asleep. So choosing not to do that this time, we'll see what he does next time he faces a Golem.
Again, Tristal may not have seen a Golem until that point. I know Jack's been punched by them a few times, but Tristal has dodged them all. Even downstairs at the mountain cave, I didn't see a Golem on Tristal's side. So that might have been a complete ambush there.
Oh, green dragons have sleep. I did not realize. Oh, you told me that. Yeah, sleep and hurt. So it's an interesting combo there. Yeah. So he wakes up and wants to just kind of mop him up with a physical attack, but 6 is not enough. Particularly high hit points on this particular green dragon. They can have, I believe, up to 73 hit points, if I recall, in the randomizer. So oftentimes the hurt more is enough, and when it's not, usually you can just do a little bit of damage with your hand axe there, but even that wasn't enough this time. So sometimes they do have the hurt spell. You could mop them up with the hurt spell almost every time. But we have another green dragon fight, and once more Tristal's asleep, choosing not to heal more here, just going with the hurt more, and does take him down. So level 10 for Tristal. rapid progress here, only 18 minutes in, and they're into the middle levels of the game already with several locations already found. They've probably seen 8 or 9 or 10 different locations already.
It's interesting because endgame, the experience point gain is much more required. Like, the levels are spaced apart much farther. But the enemies have been so strong across the board, it hasn't like an area of like just weak enemies. So wherever they walk to, they can basically find something to fight. So experience will be steady throughout the entire seed from what we're seeing so far.
I missed what cave Jack was in just now. Has he found the grave now as well? I don't think either runner has gotten to the chests in the grave.
I think Jack was in the mountain cave again.
Oh, he has not yet finished the mountain cave. Okay, interesting.
Well, he went downstairs, got red dragoned, and back home.
Yeah.
Now, Jackimus, in his mind, knows that the seed is pretty tame. You have hurt and heal more early. You're 20 minutes and you died multiple times. You're wondering if that cave has a sword or something important down there that I missed, and I need to get to it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might be weighing on his mind.
Yeah, when it's that convenient to get to an early dungeon or a major dungeon, yeah, you don't want to leave those treasures unopened sometimes. And the top level of the mountain cave has some really good monsters, so that wouldn't be too bad if you had multiple trips in there. But the bottom level wasn't that great, so if it takes him several tries to get through that bottom level of the mountain cave, that's a little bit of lost time on his end. But nothing you can do when the red dragon says no.
Alright, Tristal returns back to Garen hand and grabs that large shield.
Yeah, Tristal attempting the hurt strategy on the metal slime, which is something that some of the runners have been trying lately. One of these days I'm going to math it out and see which way is better, but so far we're not sure.
It's 15/16 chance to hit the hurt, so it's basically you'll kill it when you hit the hurt, for sure. But you have 15/16 resistance to the spell itself. So we're trading in, hoping that for 3 or 4 rounds of combat or a lucky crit versus rolling and get lucky once. So the math probably does work out somewhere. It's still kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, either way, that's a frustrating enemy to run into. Fortunately, it did not seem to have any crazy abilities, but maybe we don't know that for sure yet. And we are approaching these 3 treasures in the grave here for Tristal. And we finally have a quest item. Stones of Sunlight is one of the 3 items that they will need to access the last dungeon of the game. So, Stones of Sunlight out of the way. Still looking for the harp and the token. And Erdrick's sword, for that matter, which is always in a chest, although sometimes that one can be in one of the chests in Charlotte Castle as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Grave of Garen requires a key to get down to the bottom level. So there's 3 more chests in there that can possibly have goods. But until you have key and access, and probably more than 1 key, because if you go down there and die, that door closes again. So you have to make sure you have enough resources to go down there and survive the process.
Yeah, it feels like Tristal's done a really nice job of balancing the exploration and the rapid experience gain. He's widened his gap here, almost 1,000-point lead on the experience, and he's already done 2 major dungeons and found several towns along the way as well. So it's kind of an early advantage here for Tristal approaching another town, and he is going to use the flute strat on the golem now because it does have the sleep and wreck ability. Yep. So kind of a smart move here, I believe.
There's now a hole in his bag from where you just punched through and grabbed that flute as fast as you could. And trail of fire from here back in the area where he ran away. But yeah, golem, again, even with the access to put him to sleep, when it wakes up, it will either put you to sleep itself or hit you for like 55 damage. So basically, golem is not a, for endgame, if it's soft, it's weak, you can grind on it, get some experience points off it. If it's no sleep, though, that's enough of a pain in the neck to maybe just ignore it entirely. Because sleep always hits. You can't dodge it, you can't break out of it, and that's between 2 and 5 rounds just having your face punched in.
I didn't realize that was just Brockenary. He had already been there. He was just stopping at the inn on the way through. And he's already been down here to these towns and caves as well. They've found most of the things already. And Jack is in the mountain cave yet again, sees another red dragon. This is pretty brutal luck for Jackimus. There's, I guess, a chance that there could be a 40% red dragon down in this zone. Sometimes a zone will double up on a certain monster just by chance. But it seems like he is seeing these awfully frequently. Well, and just can't get away. Finally gets away with about a 1 in 3 chance at 64 agility to get away from a red dragon. Finally gets away. See if we can get these last few chests.
So downstairs have the Scorpion, the Metal Scorpion, Red Dragon, and Golem. I'm not sure there's a fifth, or Goldman's upstairs, I think. So it might be a double up in the Red Dragon. Meanwhile, Tristal's trying to find some passageway to the Swamp Cave to find a new part of the world, or figure out where the heck's Realmodar.
So he runs into a red slime. That prompts him to remember that he still has a fairy water in his items. He had picked up a couple of them before in those chests in the mountain cave. So uses the fairy water and finishes out that part of the continent.
You're actually incorrect. Jackimus was in the Garen's grave and found the Stones of Sunlight.
Ah, the way he was twisting and turning, it looked like mountain cave again. So there was a red dragon in the grave as well. Okay. Good stuff. As a matter of fact, I feel like I saw in chat recently that the second floor of Mountain Cave has the same monsters as the first floor of the grave, so perhaps that's why we're seeing the red dragon so often in the dungeons. I guess I'm not 100% about that, but that's what I remember reading recently.
Red Dragon is basically vanilla Red Dragon, or basic Red Dragon, seems to punch you a lot. Golem has sleep, so Charlock is looking out to be interesting. If it has the right enemies in the right spots, Charlock might be a nightmare.
Ooh, Stone's Cave. I don't think we've seen this yet.
Ah. The Torch of Sunlight.
The Mighty Torch. I remember McGrew musing that he was thinking about making it so that you could throw a torch at an enemy and do, like, hurt level damage.
Yeah, I heard about that last like a year ago.
I guess one of the versions of Dragon Warrior 1, one of the remakes, has that ability or something.
It's interesting to have, because torches are kind of used at the end game. I'm sure you can throw it at Metal Slime and get lucky. That'd be a lot of fun.
Well, it might be one of the ways to get off level 1 as well. If you get a torch in the throne room and you have, no strength, no nothing.
Yeah, if you get back.
Throw a torch at a magician and just get off the level, I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting thought anyway.
That chat's wondering, oh, that seems so hard. How did you get past level 1? Why would that be so dangerous? When the Chaos Tournament rolls around, we play Chaos mode again. You will see why level 1 can be a problem.
Yeah, that's true too. You could just, you could throw the torch at every enemy you come across. One of them's got to have 5 hit points or less, right? And then you just reset if it's not the one. I don't know. Chaos strats are kind of weird anyways.
It's like Batman style.
Here we are. We got standard flags tonight, and they are making great progress. 25 minutes in. I feel like Tristal's found almost everything that you can find already. In terms of towns and caves.
Tristal also wants to has not found the vanilla Sunlight Cave, which doesn't matter too much. And has not found Rimbledar. So Rimbledar is dodging both runners, and actually Swamp Caves haven't been found either. Which makes me think Swamp Cave leads to Rimbledar.
Yeah, it might be a Rimbledar required situation, because none of the chests that they've opened have had a magic key. And so, as far as chests that are not behind locked doors, there aren't that many of them. You have the Stones of Sunlight Cave, you have the Tablet Cave, not sure if we've seen that yet. And we have the ones in the dungeons that they've already opened.
Alright, so Tablet Cave is out there. Tablet Cave, Swamp Cave, Rimbledar, and the back door to Garenham for the Garen's back door. That's
if you can back into it through the Swamp Cave, I suppose that's true as well, yeah.
It could also be in the throne room or the castle's staircase. The Vanilla Stones of Sunlight location could also take you back door to Garenham.
Yeah, you can't get there, though, without a key, though, right?
No, you need a key. So
yeah, it used to be in the old versions of Randomizer that you could back into Tantegua Castle, but that has since been changed.
So both are in...
Yeah, so really the Tablet Cave has the only remaining chest, correct? So otherwise they have to find Rimbledar to make progress.
Yeah, the last freebie chest is in the Tablet Cave. Urgic may have buried a key for his ancestor 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, so without that, they can't get the coordinates at Cantlin to potentially find Urgic's armor. They can't check the chests in Tantegua or Garenham. They can't rescue the princess. So, and so far they don't have all the quest items, so they can't get into Charlotte Castle. So they really need to find Rimbledar.
Breckenary for Jackimus. Just in time, too, but Jackimus was hurting bad. And here's the Rogue Scorpion. So, kind of before we talked about the enemies that have HP that can be higher, lower, and hurt more, have a higher, lower hit range. The Rogue Scorpion is the first enemy that can always be killed by hurt more. No matter what HP roll is or what your damage roll is, it will die to hurt more.
The Rogue Rogue Scorpion, is that what you said?
Yes, that's the enemy. It's basically all the numbers line up where basically no matter what happens, Hurtmore shall kill his monster.
Yeah, I like to find the Magic Wyvern as well. I don't think a Magic Wyvern can survive a Hurtmore either. Not 100%, but that one's worth a ton of experience as well. I haven't seen any of those in this seed. And Tristal just backs out of Hawksness. Has he already seen what's going on in Hawksness? That's very surprising, having the Hurtmore spell. Unless he's just out of magic.
He's low on magic. It was a long fight. It would have worked out too well. But also, no, I really want to find Rimmildar right now.
Yeah, but I mean, the armor could be sitting right there.
Yeah, behind a sleep golem.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's happening. Maybe it's just a really long walk to this portion of the map, and he knows if he dies in that fight. Interesting there that he chose to nope out of there, just choosing to go back there later.
Alright, so Magic Wyvern has up to 48 hit points, so Magic Wyvern usually, almost always dies to Hurtmore. I think it might survive. It can survive on the most extreme chance of, like, high HP and low damage roll.
And no more fairy water at Tristal's disposal, so he's running into the blue slime. Up in this nook of the map. Seems to be fully explored now. I wonder if he will go back to Hawksness. I don't think there's any more branches off this continent that he can explore right away here. So he'll be having to retrace his steps. I guess maybe this south coast maybe he hasn't quite seen yet, but I don't know. Yeah, now he's totally out of magic, so I'm not sure if he's going to want to fight the Guardian just right now anyways without refreshing somewhere. Preferably at the inn in Rimmildar.
Alright, so the main deal here, one of the big things in Dragon Warrior, I'll stop you cold in the seed, is the limited space of viewing. You have about 8 tiles in all directions to look at, and you can miss a town by 2-3 steps and never see it. I've lost, even though playing rates, I missed, I think it was Rimmildar by like 2 steps and walked right past it. So, later games have spells that zoom the map out for you. A little old school mode 7. But Dragon Warrior 1, you gotta eyeball it yourself.
Oh, here we go. Is this the town of Rimmildar? He has found a town.
Oh, baby.
That is a huge find. He was down to 1 magic point. He was just trying to survive long enough to explore that portion of the map. And he has found it. It's going straight for the key shop. 30 minutes into the race, as far as we know. Yeah, and looks like Jackimus also has found Rimmildar and has found keys.
Yes, Jackimus
by the screenshot we have there. So, okay. Well, they both have keys now, as far as we know. And that will allow them to do a whole bunch of revisiting of old locations and opening up a bunch of doors, including the 2 that are right here in Rimmildar. Let's see if there's something important in this chest.
That one chest.
Yeah, can be forgotten about in many situations, but nope, just gold here. That will allow him to upgrade some weapon and armors. He could potentially ghetto grind that chest if there's, a full plate available or a broadsword or something that he can't quite afford. It's got 2,300 now, though. So he is checking. Potentially the broadsword and the half plate here. And both of them are available, so perfect. He should get enough rebate. Oh, if he had done it the other way around, I think he would have had a rebate from the hand axe. I think he would have been able to afford both, but...
Yeah, that's 230 in the other grind.
Yeah. Well, it's just going to get a quick enemy here and probably go right back in for the broadsword, I would imagine.
Now, Wizards' endgame enemies, Trolloc class enemies. So, one of the weaker ones, but still, endgame, if it has an ability or something oddball, might surprise you. So, and also they basically ignore all magic. So you have to hit the hard way.
So he's hitting fairly good in the mid-teens with a hand axe. So I would think, but yeah, I think he'll still upgrade to the broadsword here. And so they have a strength score of about 51 at level 11. That's kind of middle of the road for the strength score. We're going to need a lot more strength before the end of the game. It's not terrible, but it's not that great for this level. They also don't have the HP yet that they're going to need. And Jackimus, remember, is on the Strength Agility seed, so he'll have even less hit points than Tristal on the equivalent level. And so there's a potential where that could come into play if they don't get to triple-digit hit points anytime soon. That would favor Tristal as well for the end game level.
They both have Death Necklace, which might not come into play, but it will come into play more often for Tristal with a higher HP gain on that build. So if it becomes a factor where 2 HP might make a difference, Tristal has that edge there in the build choice.
So here's an interesting point also. The agility is actually fairly good, and Tristal now has already made a lot of progress in the seed, has done the top of the grave, and also has full cleared mountain. He knows where there's a silver shield if there happens to be a gold grind available when he does make his way back. I wonder if he'll go through the trouble to revisit a dungeon to set up the grind, or if he's just going to be good with the large shield, because they already have pretty good agility, so that will yield pretty good defense power as soon as Urgic's armor is obtained. So I don't know. That'll be a decision when he gets there. If it is available, will he go through the trouble to get the silver shield?
And the access is easy. Silver Shield's right side. It's in coal. So you just leave the castle and walk north like 10 steps. Silver Shield's right there. So you're not losing that anytime.
Yeah, exactly. He knows where it is, and it's pretty convenient, but he may decide that he just doesn't need it. I'm not sure. And this golem, if he does avoid the sleeping fist, it's going to give him level 12 and the chance to check the search spot here.
And Tristal, I'm not sure if they have stop spell yet. Tristal is going right for sleep and swing.
And this is a nice routing decision by Tristal, because if he happens to find the token here, then there won't necessarily be a reason for him to dive the grave unless he wants to go out, make sure that the sword isn't hiding down there. But if he doesn't find the token, then there's still a chance that it's in a chest.
Ooh, but the golem plants his garden.
Yeah, that is a problem, that the golem has the sleep spell, and the golems have very high hit points, and you can't use the hurt more spell on them. So the upgrade to the broadsword was a good thing, but he still only has 71 attack power, not hitting the golem too hard. But now he's going to check the treasury now that he's been forced back to Tantegel.
And Jackimus has entered the back of Garenham, has found, well, nothing. He's on a tablet cave for another torch.
Well, Tristal found Urgic's sword in the treasury, as well as some, I think there was a gold chest there as well. So now I'm kind of curious, again, now that he has the sword, he really doesn't have to dive the grave. So it's actually kind of unfortunate that he wasn't able to check that search spot, because if he could have acquired the token, then he would not have to dive the grave to the bottom levels. And, he could make his decision on whether or not he wants to grind for the silver shield. But because he didn't check that spot at Hawksness, he's still got a little bit of unknown information. And we have the swamp cave in the basement of Tantegel.
I gotta find my daughter. Where is she wandered off to?
And I'm not even sure what he would be looking for over here. The only cave remaining, I think, is the tablet cave,
which is in the back of the garden.
And he already has the sword, and he just realized that. So already having the sword, he doesn't have the harp yet, but there's a good chance. I don't know. Yeah, all he'd be looking for on that continent, I think, is tablet, unless he's already found it and I missed it.
Yes, indeed. So, due to the stuttering nature of Jack's stream, which is now smooth again, thankfully.
So, Cyborg Arc, our tracker, notes that both cursed belts have been found as well. I don't know if Tristal found it or if that was in Garenham. But if whoever finds both of them, they'll have the knowledge that the token is indeed on a search spot and not in a chest.
I was going to say, Garenham had both the Silver Harp and the other Cursed Belt. Actually, the Cursed Belt was in the Tablet Cave that was in the back of Garenham. So all that area is kind of like mixed up.
Oh, so, I got you. And I think Tristal realized that the Tablet Cave had to be in the back of Garenham. And that's why he noped out of that second continent. Because he's seen all the other locations as far as I know. And sometimes you forget. You haven't been to the back of Garenham. And there has to be one of the caves has to be back there. So I think he realized by process of elimination that he saw both ends of the swamp cave. And so now the only thing left was the Tablet Cave. And it has to be in Garenham. But Jackimus now has a good information advantage with the knowledge that the token is on a spot. And he already has the harp in his possession. And if he does make his way back and gets the sword out of the treasury, if he doesn't have it already, then he definitely won't have to dive the grave at this point. He'll have everything, and he'll have the knowledge that he doesn't have to go down there for the token. Let's see how hard he's hitting this golem, because I wonder if he got the sword while his stream was frozen. He's only doing about 16 damage, so I guess maybe he did not get it yet.
Probably not the Axel on the tracker. And unfortunately, yes, I was thinking before myself, like, do they have stop spell? Because they're both, sleeping and punching and slept and punch back. I'm wondering why they're not trying to actually stop sleep from being a thing.
Yeah, especially you could put it to sleep with the flute first and then use stop spell, just in case stop spell doesn't land or something like it. I agree with you. I think that would be a great strategy against the golem. They're pretty dangerous even when you have the flute.
I was saying both of them had the opportunity, both at the levels, both the power, and they both skipped on the strategy. So I'm not sure. It was just in their race to get the armor and find things out that they've forgotten. Like, oh, by the way, Combat 101 might be don't be hit by a giant fist.
And so, by the way, there are coordinates, as we know there has to be, because the armor and the token are both on spot. So the Tristal, I believe, still doesn't know for sure that something is in Hawksness. So he knows that there is something at the coordinates, so it looks like he might be counting that out already.
Oof. Jackimus, after a long struggle with the golem, finally gets put down. It was back and forth for a good 5 minutes there.
Yeah, 29 north, 25 west. It should be right up in this region where Tristal's counting to. So no major obstacles in the way on that count. And we'll see if it's the token or the armor momentarily. And Jackimus is in the treasury now, so if he didn't have the sword, he has it now. And he will go to the back as well. And kind of curious when he discovers that it's Swamp Cave, if he's going to bother going through. Because I bet you he has probably seen all the same locations as Tristal at this point. And there's probably nothing over there on the second continent.
But he's found more, so he's already seen the Tablet Cave below. So he already knows that Swamp Cave is worthless, and just ignores it entirely.
Jackimus just overstepped that basement and then just moved on.
Probably doesn't. Jackimus in his head realized, oh wait, it's going to be Swamp Cave, which take me to a continent, which take me to a place with no other caves.
Yeah, right. Yep, that's pretty interesting. If that's the only thing left, because he has seen the Tablet Cave in the back of Garanham, so he had kind of the same situation where the only thing that's left to find as far as caves is the Swamp Cave, and that has to be in the basement there, and so he didn't need it. And he is going to revisit Mountain Cave again. I wonder if he's doing this just to set up a grind for the Silver Shield, or if he actually hasn't gotten to these chests yet.
Jack Manos has not gotten to the bottom of the cave yet, but yes, also easy access to a grind with a shield basically, 10 steps from town is definitely tempting.
And there's that other cursed belt. And one more chest. He's going to try and get there on this run here. And I bet he probably could survive this red dragon at this point. 75 hit points, still kind of rough. He doesn't have great defensive equipment, as you can see by our tracker there. So yeah, he is two-shot by the red dragon, unfortunately. But if you have enough hit points and you have some equipment, then, he does have the Heal More spell. So you could just out-hit him. But right now, he just doesn't have good enough equipment. We're showing no shield and just the chainmail for Jackimus right now.
Alright, Tristal tiptoes across the map and finds the token of Verdrick.
But I think we're about to see the gold grind initiated for Jackimus, and he knows that shield is right around the corner.
Alright, so tokens on the map, which means that golem is guarding the armor.
Alright, and Tristal realized that nothing of consequence could be in the Tablet Cave, so he does not even bother exploring it, since he already has the token, and he knows where the armor is. The sword is already found. The only thing, I guess, that he could find in there is the fighter's ring, and it's just not worth the trip in and out of there to do that. So, a couple of little shortcuts by both runners. We're seeing some smart routing, some good efficiency, skipping certain trips that they don't necessarily need. I think we'll find that neither runner will go into the bottom levels of the grave either. There's just nothing of consequence that could be found there.
Jackimus stuffing his pockets full of gold. Tristal's trying to get back to Hawk's Nest carefully with some kind of magic in his back pocket.
There was a pretty good strength boost at level 12 as well, and so now Tristal probably is going to do quite a bit more damage to the golem when he eventually Yeah, Jackimus also was unable to beat that golem, correct? So neither one has the armor. And they're going to need to get back there to get it. That's about the last thing they're going to need. Tristal revisiting the staff cave, so he does have the staff now. Do you recall where the rainbow drop cave is by any chance?
It's close to start. Jerk Cave was really close to the initial area. I think it's a bit to the south. But they both seen it before. They both walked in, both walked out. So it's not like it's a surprise.
Yeah, and Sharlock was near start too. So Tristal's probably going to go take care of Hawksness first, then return back to Tantegel. And if the Jerk Cave is right there, take care of that. And he'll be ready for Sharlock, which is right nearby as well. And I'm not sure if we've seen the spike tile in the swamp cave, but if they're going to need more levels, I would think that they're not going to use the golem in Hawksness in this case. So once Tristal is done getting the armor, he's going to have to decide where he's going to go to get more levels.
And again, it'd be interesting if just, walk in, hit the flute, and then start throwing stop spells out and see what happens. Grinding him can be a pain with the HP and the power attacks. But
yeah, it might be worth experimenting with that if it turns out that it's like 100% to land, and the stop spell every time. Then that becomes like a pretty free fight, and maybe you could get 255 a pop, and that would become a pretty good grind. Golem's really unlikely to ambush you, so yeah, that would be an interesting experiment. If you fail stop spell a couple of times, then it has a pretty good resistance, and it might be too dangerous to do for a grind. So yeah, that'll be an interesting decision once Tristal gets to that point.
Well, you can try it out. If it kills you, you're back in the castle. Go downstairs and see what's in the basement.
Yeah, well, you want to beat it once to get the armor, for sure. But yeah, after that, then it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're going to want to get back. Anyways. And you're right, yeah, Swamp Cave is right in the basement of Tantegel, so if they wanted to use that spike tile, it's pretty convenient.
Alright, Jack is now two-tone around, trying to find... No, Jack is going in a different direction. Jack is not looking for the spot yet, I don't think.
Stoneman has the Hurt More spell, and without Urgic's armor, it takes quite a bit of hit points, hitting Tristal for 44 there, and he only has 83 max hit points, so you're in the danger zone of getting two-shot by a Stoneman in this situation. So yeah, the lack of hit points and neither player finding the armor in a timely manner, they're still vulnerable to certain enemies. We haven't seen too much Dragonlord Breath, but yeah, they could get two-shot by Dragonlord Breath right now as well. So we're back here against a rematch with the Golem.
All I've seen in Dragonlord Breath so far is the Magician. Abracadabra, I went. Oops,
he actually does get ambushed by the Golem, but didn't get put to sleep. Wow. That's pretty bad luck with 78 agility to get ambushed by a Golem, but breaking out the flute, it's going to put him to sleep. And we're just not going to see the stop spell attempted. We're going to see an attack for 25. Again, he did get a strength boost and has the Urgic Sword now, so he's up to 111 attack power. That must have been kind of a low roll to hit him for 25. Golems can have up into the 150s for hit points, though. And here comes the stop spell, and it works first try. So that's interesting. So now he should have no problem at least defeating it once. And then we'll see if he wants to stay here for more or not. It is kind of a long battle, but it is worth 255, so I don't know.
And the Golem really wants to cast that sleep spell, so you definitely get a lot of free actions off that.
Yeah, once that stop spell lands, this is a pretty easy fight. And in some ways, that's nice too, because if it does spam the sleep spell after you've already blocked it, that means you don't have to spend magic healing yourself. It's just not doing any damage to you. So now you can sustain the grind for quite a bit longer than you otherwise would have been able to. Unfortunately, it takes a couple of physicals here too, so maybe it's 50% sleep in this case. So now he's going to flute, and then heal more, and then stop spell, and then attack. And he's 2 for 2 now on stop spells, so far, kind of low resistance here. You probably have the exact statistics in front of you, Seawolf, although I don't know if we want to spoil that for the viewers.
I'm spoiling things.
As far as stop spell resistance.
Alright, now interesting actually. The stop spell resistance is a little oddball in these seats with the randomizer, because enemies that don't have magic might suddenly have magic. So stop spell is randomized to a lower number to an extent. The golem that we saw so far has resisted once out of 3 attempts. So it's a random number given to the resistance. If they can cast magic, they have to be able to be stop spelled.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had the tracker view. I usually don't open the tracker view because it's just too many windows for my monitor when I'm doing commentary. But sometimes people that have the tracker view, you can actually see what the stop spell resistance is for each monster. But here nor there, I mean, from Tristal's point of view, it has very low resistance, and he has decided it is worthwhile to continue a sustained grind here on the golem because he is able to block that spell. So an interesting development here. He's going to grind on the golem at least till he runs out of magic. If he can get 14 while he's here, then you know, Death Warp back to Tantegel. Maybe take it from there. We're still pretty far away from Dragon Lord eligible. We're only at 114 attack power. That's almost never enough. He doesn't have the hit points that he needs either. It's looking like probably 2 or 3 more levels needed. But if you can get one of them here on this golem, then you know, he'll have better information about whether he wants to come all the way back here, or maybe check the spike tile in the swamp cave. We'll see.
Alright, for your boy golem, we have a 12/16 resistance to stop, and a 75% chance to cast sleep, and 25% chance to fight. So you want to cast sleep.
I think that 12 is probably his max stop spell resistance. Well, I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know if.
No, it's not 12. It's 2/16.
Oh, I thought you said 12. Okay.
No, much better. Much more in the favor of the Mars.
Yeah. Because he's been landing it a lot. I'd be pretty lucky if he's landing it and it has 12 out of 16 resistance. But at any rate, he's pretty much out of magic now. Seems like he's choosing to go back to an inn instead of taking a Death Warp back to Tantegel. So sounds like he wants to continue on the golem grind for the foreseeable future. Meanwhile, Jack's up to level 12 and trying to remember what he has not done yet. Jackimus does have the silver shield, by the way.
Yeah, so Jackimus is trying to head back to Hawk's Nest to take care of that problem.
Okay, so he's got all the items, except for the drop, which is right near the castle. So as soon as he gets this golem, he'll have the armor and the sword as well, and he'll be in grind and go mode also. Just maybe 1,500 points behind Tristal. It looks like 2,000 points behind Tristal.
So interesting to see with the difference in agility and the silver shield. Will that make a difference? Will that make up a level of difference in combat against Dragon Lord, which is probably not the case?
Yeah, so we have an 8 golem lead right now for Tristal, which is approximately, I would say, about a 6-minute lead. Let's see if there's any way that Jackimus could close this gap.
And Jackimus also drops Soft Spell to good effect. Let the golem bashing begin.
So Jackimus is a notoriously high risk, high reward runner. I think if there's any possible way, he may end up trying to go a level earlier than Tristal might. He seems to be very aggressive when it comes to Dragon Lord stats. And he also is a fan of fighting his way down for the last level if the situation calls for it. Having that silver shield helps in that regard as well. He already has 88 defense power with his agility build and his silver shield, and he'll have 4 more when he acquires Erdrick's armor. So that will allow him to defense break, several Sharlock enemies, including the Wizard, the Werewolf, the Star Wyvern, and the Green Dragon already. And maybe with the next level up, possibly the Axe Knight as well. So he may end up choosing to fight his way down for a level or 2. I don't know. He does tend to take some risks, so those are the things he'll need to do if he wants to try and overcome this experience disadvantage.
And as you guess in chat guesses, Jackimus kills the golem, says, "Nope, I'm out of here," and just instantly goes back to town, makes a run for the Jerk Cave. On the plus side, Jackimus can find the fighters range down there and make some gains.
Yeah, so we're definitely seeing a mix of opinions in chat about what is the best way to grind here. The golem is definitely not ideal. It is worth 255 every time you get him, though. So even if it takes close to a minute to get him, it's still 255. So, but then you have Jackimus going with the early Sharlock dive. So there's a lot of enemies here that he'll be defense breaking as well as hurt mortal enemies. Blue Dragon is neither, unfortunately. So, but the Blue Dragon with the stop spell, not particularly dangerous, so he'll probably chop him down.
Yeah, Blue Dragon has stop spell and loves stop spell. Let's find out.
So we have a difference in philosophies as far as this end game grind. The spike tile in the swamp cave was right in the basement of Tanteagle, but Jack not bothering to check that out. He oftentimes likes to gain the information of what is in the first couple of zones, at least in Sharlock, and that will allow him to potentially take that risk of going on a really borderline level if he knows that there's no red enemies in here like Armored Knights and Red Dragons, for example. That's part of his process in a lot of the races that I've watched from him.
Yeah, but Jack is approaching. One level will be approaching close to attack power required. If you find the Fighter's Ring down there, it could sneak you over just to 120, which is not ideal, but HP is still a thing. HP is still a factor for them to deal with. Doesn't matter how strong you are, how fast you are. If you die in 2 fire breaths, you can't do much in the way of combat.
Yeah, and Jack's not going to be getting a whole lot of HP on the next couple of levels, since Tristal's on 14 and he only has 89, and Tristal has the HP build. So Jack's going to be kind of stuck here. So if he's fighting his way down with the hopes of getting a big level, it's not coming anytime soon. He does get 13 here, with lots of MP, I think I saw. So they won't have any problems with having enough heal mores at the end.
The MP is huge.
But yeah, absolutely. Hit points is basically required, more or less. And Tristal's going to want a little more attack power as well.
Yeah, in a game like this where you can't dodge anything, HP is important and defense is important. You can't avoid attacks. So you have to be able to take hits and heal up. So MP is important and HP is important. The chat mentions that yes, the more levels you gain, the more strength you get, the more damage you do. The golem gets to be a faster fight and a faster fight. So the more you fight the golem, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. I mean, it's if you can get to the point where you're 3-shotting a golem, that becomes a really good grind. But usually by the time you can do that, you're ready to beat the game. So, yeah, in this case, with 119 attack power, it's more likely to be like a 4-shot most of the time. And first you got to cast the stop spell and all that. The good news though is that if you do land the stop spell and he does spam the sleep, you don't have to heal as often, so you're taking less trips to the inn. That factors quite a bit into how good the grind is. Unfortunately, it seems to be kind of 50-50, so it is landing big shots against Tristal with his fist, kind of in between, and he is having to heal up. Yeah, almost every battle.
It is a 50-50 shot between sleep and punch. And sleep seems to be pretty tame, and punch will, half kill you.
Yeah, even with the difference here in approaches, it's still about a 2,000 experience lead so far. Now, if Tristal has to take another walk back to an inn, and Jack somehow doesn't, Jack's getting a little low as well on resources, but he's down to the bottom floor.
Now the question is, what is the actual boss monster? Jack's skipping the treasury. Jack's going right for the boss monster.
Yeah, and the one thing that could happen for him is if it is an Axe Knight and he gets to the point where his defense breaks the Axe Knight, he could end up sitting there all day on basically no magic. He won't have to go back and heal. But that's just about the best scenario. And right now, it looks like the Red Dragon. Nope, it was a low roll, so he's got a reprieve here. And yeah, that's not the enemy you want to see on the bottom floor if you want to potentially grind the spike tile.
Yeah, but I wonder if you actually want to just die there and either walk back or try something new. Maybe that dragon not killing him was bad for his actual time.
Sometimes you want this information, but you don't want to get into a situation where you start running from battles in order to get the information, because now you're just losing time. So he's going to just fight his way through. He probably won't get there. But yeah, as you can see there, defense breaking the Star Wyvern. So as many of these kind of encounters as he can get, those are essentially free. Whereas, unfortunately, there are red dragons on this bottom zone. So that might give him information to maybe not gamble on a level that where you don't quite have the stats, a little bit later on, because having to burn even one heal more on a red dragon, ends your dive basically. So you know, if it's a borderline level. Oh, he is going to use some herbs just to see if he can make some more progress through here. So interesting play. There are some shops pretty close by where he can refresh those herbs if he desires.
Yeah, so Jack really wants to see this boss monster. To the point where he's fighting an enemy that can kill him with a shot. He's using herbs to get past your star weapons. He's bent on finding this boss monster.
Meanwhile, look at the experience growing for Tristal, actually outpacing Jack's choice of grind here by going after this golem. Now, Tristal's getting ready to go back to an inn, but he has managed to extend that lead in this process.
And you might say Jack has more knowledge now, but does the knowledge actually help you? Nope,
I don't know if we've seen too many Armored Knights in the Sea. Do we know what abilities they have? I don't know. He just ran away immediately.
I've seen 2 in the overworld, and both of them either... one got hit by 2 hurt more than died with 1 attack, and one got a one-shot ambush kill. So I'm not sure what they can do to you. But I can find out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, they're so squishy. Okay, they have stop spill, they have hurt, and they swing a few times.
Aha! Spoilers. So if Jack actually knew that, that could actually be a grind right there, but...
My apologies, that was the Axe Knight, not the Armored Knight.
Ah, okay.
Armored Knight, Armored Knight. He will fight. That's all he's got. He swings.
Yeah. So, not the best thing you want to see on the Sharlach spike tile, but what is Jackimus doing now? I don't know if he's just... This seems like lost time to me now. Is he looking for the fighter's ring, perhaps?
I guess.
Unless maybe he doesn't have any keys. He just took a U-turn as if maybe he ran out of keys or something, but thought maybe he was going to run in there and see if the fighter's ring was in there.
I mean, I guess too, but when you take 3 steps towards it and stop and go back that way...
Yeah, he just turned around, so...
Yeah, it might be out of keys.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but this all feels like lost time compared to the golem grind to me. But he is fighting most of these enemies. He somehow has survived with no magic.
My question is now that...
It's getting very close to 14 now, by the way.
Yeah, but these fights are... I'm wondering that Red Dragon killed him before, that have saved him 5 minutes of wandering around doing nothing. Like, that death from a Red Dragon probably a bonus.
Well, he's out of there now. Doesn't quite get 14 while he's down there, but... he might go ahead and take care of the rainbow drop now. Oh, I guess they both did that already. Okay, so now he's going to check the spike tile in the swamp cave.
All right, and chat limiting now the risk of the strength agility build. The risk being that if HP is not your favor, you can be a whole level, 2 levels behind an HP build.
Yeah, this level 15 for Tristal, exactly 97 hit points. And it looks like he may have the attack power and the magic for this to be go time. And Jackimus will not be able to win at 15. I mean, he would have to take a giant risk with like 89 hit points or something. Yes, this is just even more devastating. Tristal can win at this level, and Jackimus cannot.
Just about to find out. We're going in. Alright, your spike tile appears to be the Stone Man.
So Tristal doesn't have the information, but we know now from Jackimus's run that there are at least some red dragons. Don't recall if we saw any other armored knights besides the one in the spike tile. But yeah, too many red dragons can cost you some heal mores. He does have 90 agility, so that's about a 50-50 chance to run from a red dragon. So it shouldn't be too bad for him. And let's see, with 113 MP, that's a pile of heal mores. That's just enough, really. You could maybe have 1 extra in the bank, but with 97 hit points, you don't have any wiggle room as far as magic required for the Dragon Lord. You're never going to get a double attack, really, with 97 hit points. So
we're seeing now that enemies in Sharlach have a bit of an edge of not making you block. You don't run as easily in Sharlach. So enemies you might run from the overworld can still stop you on the ground. And
by the way, by the chart that I use for Dragon Lord math, if he did somehow have to burn a heal more, let's say, he could check for that fighter's ring. And my math says that at 132 attack power, that actually saves you a required heal more. So you could be in a situation if you had to burn one, maybe you make the decision to go check for the ring. If you didn't have to burn one, then maybe you don't check for the ring. So that's something that Tristal has as an option when we get down there. For example, this Armored Knight just became a little bit dangerous, and he only has about half of his herbs remaining. So this is a tricky dive for Tristal.
And again, if you dive for the fighter's ring in the treasury, that's how many more steps, how many more fights you gotta worry about.
Yeah, last time I commentated a race where that was in play, it took one of the runners about 45 seconds to go in and out of the treasury down there. That is a significant amount of time. There's no doubt about it. The act of actually checking the chests, sometimes you get 3, 4, 5 encounters going back and forth. It's actual steps that you have to take. And we just saw Tristal basically is refusing to burn a heal more because it is fairly close. And he takes a death to the Armored Knight.
It's just as a wonder now. It's an hour in. You had a pretty smooth sail of the seed. You know, Jackimus is a very competent player, so you're wondering, is he right behind you? Can I afford to grind level out with a dive now? And
it's tough in a race situation. He may not even really have that fighter's ring in the back of his mind, and if you don't even feel like that's an option, then it almost is like you really can't burn any heal mores. I feel like he could probably burn one and still maybe win, but yeah, also, it's like it's really he doesn't want to be struggling with the heal mores. So
in chat we were discussing the nature of defense. Does 85 defense power still make you possibly get punched for 50 by a Dragon Lord? I'm not sure the math.
Yeah, I think it's 49. So, but yeah, with 97 hit points, that's a problem because 48 from the breath and then 49 from a physical, and you're dead. So,
yes, you are literally never safe from being killed in 2 shots. You'll never get a double attack at all. You must always attack and always heal.
Yeah, so the further questions, it's every 4 defense power points. So at 86 defense power, max Dragon Lord is 48. 82 and up, he can do 49. If you have 78 and up, he can do 50, and so on. So that's how that works with the physicals. And so that is a real threat when you only have 97 hit points. And you don't have too many heal mores to spare either. So yeah, having to double heal during a Dragon Lord fight would be kind of obnoxious when you don't really have any to spare. And not every heal more roll goes as planned either, by the way. Heal more can heal between 85 and 100. So if you're down around 1 or 2 hit points and you heal back up, you could also be in a double heal situation pretty easily there too. So those are the kind of things that can happen to you when you're fighting Dragon Lord with only 97 hit points. So this is not a sure thing on this dive, and that's why he didn't really want to burn any heal mores on that last dive. He wants to get down there with full resources.
Jackimus is upstairs grinding on the floor with enemies. Again, the risk here is that Tristal might try diving and forcing a 15, where stats-wise she can win, where Jack might have to grind like 16. But if Tristal dives 5 times, gets killed on the way down, or has to use magic and then backs out at the last minute, every time you die, that's 5-10 minutes. Lost.
Yeah, that's the other thing is Tristal is not fighting any monsters really on the way down here. He's absolutely banking on 15 being the level, and he's not like getting in like an insurance level on the way down or anything. So if he fails another dive, like we can see Jackimus has already closed the gap. He is 300 points away from being even on experience here. He's going to get 15 with like 2 more fights, and then it's go time for Jackimus. So it just takes 1 more fail for Tristal, and now it looks like he did remember the fighter's ring, which does save a heal more in this case. The difference between 130 and 132 for attack power is significant.
Jackimus learns what I learned the whole time. The Blue Dragon can use Fire Breath.
And there are red dragons on this bottom floor, and he does decide to use the heal more. Again, if he does find the fighter's ring, which could be upstairs in the vanilla chest, by the way, but if he does find it, then, using that heal more was okay. So here we go. We got the herb. We got the herb. And we're running out of chests, guys. Oh boy. Oh, it's in the
lucky pick.
The last one that he tried. Alright, so he takes the maximum amount of time on this side trip, but it pays off and he gets the extra 2 attack power for the fighter's ring. So
not to mention the dankest level 5 basement herbs.
And it's interesting because if he had decided to skip the ring and he went halfway around and then ran into that red dragon and then had to burn the heal more, that would have been really annoying for him. But he had already decided to go check for the ring when he ran into that red dragon. And so, yeah, he still is in okay shape resources-wise. He still is going to have to deal with that Armor Knight on the spike tile. And I don't think he has too many herbs left after that fight. So we're still in a situation where he might not be able to get through Dragon Lord 1 with full resources. He's not defense breaking Dragon Lord 1. You need 90 defense power to do that. So this is all still pretty close for Tristal. Let's see how this fight goes on the spike tile. Meanwhile, Jackimus is diving for game now on his own level 15. Even though he only has 90 hit points, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to go for it here.
Jack might dive at 90, might fight the way down, try and get the extra level up. It's a bit of ways off, but it can be done.
Yeah, I could see Jackimus going for the insurance level. With that silver shield, he's defense breaking blue dragons now, by the way. So there's a lot of things that Jackimus could pick off pretty easily. Unfortunately, the Armored Knight here is not one of them, and he's having a really tough time getting away. But
Tristal's gambled on this killing by walking. That blue dragon lit on fire and ruined the whole thing.
Yeah, he really needs it though. It's really kind of, if he doesn't get the full 97 going into DL2, that's kind of a problem. So let's see how this fight goes here. And there's the physical for 21 by DL1 because he doesn't have the silver shield.
Ooh, lucky stop spell.
Does get the stop spell, but he needs to be at that 97 going into DL2.
Ooh, fishes.
Doesn't need it. Well, 93, this is a really good result for Tristal. He still has a chance to get 2 attacks, and he did not get ambushed, so this is good news. A low roll of 8, but he does manage to get 2 attacks in.
Very lucky. That punch could have been fatal if he went for the punch.
Yep, but that situation's going to come up a lot. The range here is 8 to 16, by the way, and he started off with an 8. I lost track of the count already, but you don't want to see too many 8s when you don't have a lot of MP to spare here. But he did get the 2 attacks to start, and he did not get ambushed. So, you know, he's done everything he can to set himself up for success here.
Jack had met Charlock now, as Tristal, very carefully inputs commands to fight this Dragon Lord.
Yeah, so Jack looks like he got bounced, and he's halfway to the next level. He's going to continue to fight for that level on the way down. Going to re-enter Charlock, and Tristal's halfway through the DL2 fight. Has not been in any risky situations yet with where potential double heal situations that I've seen. Here's only 91 after the heal more, but fortunately does not get the breath on the next attack, so he did not have to double heal. But again, 91, and now we have a double heal.
I gotta do it.
So that is what happens when you have 97 max hit points, and now it's very close. Dragon Lord could have between 150 and 165 for hit points, and that actually could make the difference in this fight. How many hit points does Dragon Lord have here? Surely he can't afford to double heal again, so we might see him swing at 45 or 46 if it comes down to it. And he gets the full heal this time, so he's good to go.
Goes down.
Oh, and it was a low HP Dragon Lord. Goes down with a couple of attacks to spare. Well done for Tristal. Get your GGs out. Tristal has made the quarterfinals.
All right. Stats are right on the borderline there. Even with double heal, enough high rolls to blow through that. Only had one real dicey situation where you had to choose and death was possible. And still had another round or two to go before things got really hairy.
That was a pretty quick seed here. An hour, 12 minutes, 49 seconds for TristalMTG. Good game. And Jack is halfway through his dive. He's down to 111 MP, by the way, so struggling to maintain full resources there. He's down. I'm not sure what he cast there. Oh, it looks like he cast Radiant and gave up a heal more in the process.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
So, yeah, interesting play there. He may have to check for the Fighter's Ring, but he knows he's getting a level. He might get a big power boost just on the level up as well. So, a little more wiggle room as long as he is getting 16. And he can pick off a lot of these enemies. Werewolf is defense broken.
Yeah, no wizard I've seen in Charlock, but yeah, the lower end enemies are now soft targets.
Yeah, and I feel like Jack did get his shield in a pretty efficient manner. I think he was diving one of the dungeons and just got it kind of, with regular routing. I don't think he made an extra trip to try to set up the grind for the shield or anything.
Now, it was a trip down to he finished out the mountain cave, and then while I was there, just okay, well, I'm here. Let's fight enemies so I die and grab my chest full of gold.
Yeah,
so it was in line. It was unfortunately a Zonk cave. It was a mountain cave that had nothing inside of it, but it didn't lose time for that cause.
Right, that's what I was getting at. Sometimes you lose even more time than normal because you're going out of your way to get it. But in many ways, it saves him time as well because he's able to break all these enemies while he's fighting his way down too. So, yeah. So the credits and the accolades are over with on Tristal's screen there. I wonder if he'll pop in and chat with us. I believe we had another round of 16 race at 7:30 this evening, and we have another one coming up later at 11 p.m. as well.
Yep, 11 p.m. is I think it's J. Coper and High Spirits. I'll make sure.
That sounds right to me. So that's another really good matchup. So anybody that's staying up late tonight, 11 p.m. can check that one out.
Yeah, it may surprise you. All these races are full of good racers.
How does that happen later in the tournament? I'm not sure. And speaking of good racers, I think we got Tristal in the chat. What's going on, Tristal?
Hey, yeah, GG. That felt really rough. There were definitely some moments there where I really felt like Jackimus could just overtake me at any moment, but apparently I made it through before he did, so the Tris luck survives another round.
Congratulations. Yeah, so as far as an hour and 12-minute seeds go, that felt pretty rough.
I mean, the biggest problem, of course, was the Armored Knight that decided I was not allowed to run. I'm always a little bit salty about when I'm favored to run and I just lose a bunch of coin flips in a row. But maybe Jackimus had some trouble on a similar vein as well.
Well, Jackimus, one big thing here is Jackimus went strength agility, so he did not have the hit points on the same level that you had. So he's going to 16 right now.
Yeah, obviously I was just right on the knife's edge for
there it is.
Being able to do it. So
Jack, level 16 for Jack is 12 strength and 14 HP. So Dragon Lord's gonna have a bad time in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you could see I debated going into South Swamp to check out the spike tile there to try and get 16, because 15 was just so borderline, and I didn't do a gold grind for the silver shield. So if Charlock was really bad, then...
by the time... I think you had full cleared mountain and you had already done the top of the grave, and I think you had the information that you didn't need to dive to the bottom of the grave before really you got keys. So you just never really had a chance to get that silver shield. Jackimus does have it because his routing went a little differently.
Okay.
And so he just ended up grinding for the silver shield kind of in the natural course of things. But yeah, I think because of how things worked out for you, I agree with not getting the shield. I think you had some good agility by the time you needed to make that decision as well.
Yeah, and 90 agility means the Dragon Lord isn't just going to eat me for dinner with 97 HP, I think, so...
Right. And so how did
really
you
close.
choose to stick with the golem, by the way? Because that's a longer battle, but it does yield 255, and you had not checked the spike tile in the swamp cave yet. What Jack ended up doing was he ended up grinding a Sharlock instead. So what do you think about your choice of grinds?
So as soon as I hit level 15, even if it wasn't enough to handle the Dragon Lord, I would have just Death Warped back to Charlock to do whatever was in the Swamp Cave. Because it just took too long to heal the MP from Hawksness, because Rimmildar and Garenham were just, they were like 4 or 5 screens away, which is kind of too much, especially when you don't have Repel. So that felt really bad. There were definitely some moments.
Was this a level 16 Repel? I didn't even realize that. It's pretty gross.
I mean, it kind of has to be, right? Because I didn't have it at 15, so...
Nice.
Yeah, it's there were a lot of moments. Those later levels really felt bad. My split showed I was about 5.5 minutes slower on average between level 12 and 13 than I normally am. So that just it really put a fire under me to try and take the risk.
Yeah, there's no way to know it, obviously, but when you watch it back, you'll see that you just kind of went out to a pretty big lead early, and you just stayed there because. Right in the early levels, you were able to one-shot a couple of green dragons with the Hurtmore, which is sort of like 50-50. And every time Jackimus got in that spot, he did not get the luck. So it took him like a while to get off like levels like 2, 3, and 4. He just couldn't one-shot any of the good enemies, and so he was just kind of stuck with, he had some bad luck just in those early encounters. So you took it, you took that lead, and then you just kind of stayed there, which is, very well executed.
Yeah, I mean, well executed, you can say, quote unquote. I just had better luck with the green dragons. I did definitely notice the early game, just a lot of green dragon encounters, which is all I'm asking for, because that's one of the best enemies you can get with a level 1 Hurtmore seed. So
yeah, I remember noting that you had level 8, 8 minutes in. So that's about as good as you can hope for with level 1 Hurtmore.
Yeah, that's one of those things the randomizer provides with these level 1 Hurtmore seeds. It's you can get some real fast grinding.
And I guess the only way to get keys was Rimmildar. It seemed like that was kind of the key thing, and no pun intended. But I think it took you about a half an hour to get there. Were you feeling behind or ahead? What did you think about how long it took to find Rimmildar?
No, the key situation didn't really bother me because I knew it was just going to be as bad for Jackimus. I definitely had set up to try and get key gold grinds going from either Mountain Cave or Garen's Grave, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, I think you had opened every chest that was possible without keys, so you knew that Rimmildar was required. It's just a matter of finding it, and some of the key items were hiding behind locked doors, so you did have to find it eventually. I think you ended up finding it about the same time, if I recall. Jack's stream went in and out a little bit, but it looks like you got there around the same time.
You're actually in the room buying keys simultaneously at the same time when they came back up. So it's like,
wow, that's awesome.
Minute to minute, you found Rimmildar. He's a little behind you though. Behold, JackimusWedge, 120.05.
GG Jackimus, what's going on?
Not too much, just hanging out playing Nintendo.
That sounds like a good time to me. So what'd you think about the seed overall? It was a level 1 Hurtmore seed, and just go from there.
Yeah, it was pretty quick seed.
Yeah, one of the things we were just talking about is it seemed like you just had some unfortunate early encounters. It seemed like the Hurtmore just wasn't working on the green dragons in one shot, and took a few deaths right in the beginning of the game. Helped, kind of got you stuck on levels 3 and 4 for a few extra minutes. But after that, it seemed like you made really smooth progress.
Honestly, my luck was pretty poisoned the whole way through, but that's just something that happens on this randomizer the odd time. No big deal.
And let's see, what else happened here? You chose, as you often do, to kind of do your end game grinding while exploring Charlock. You felt like you had already seen the Golem and a head sleep. That was just a no-go for you, as far as you were concerned.
Yeah, I was just kind of hoping for something better there. If there were Axe Knights at the bottom of Charlock, that would have been fantastic, but it was another Armored Knight, so
JackimusGG, did you ever end up checking the Swamp Cave spike tile? Because I did not.
Yeah, I had a look at that. It was just a stone man, so it was not really worth grinding on that spot.
Okay, yeah, that would have been like the worst case scenario then. Yeah, I ended up grinding on the Golem and Hawksness to exactly level 15, and then Death Warped, and I went Strength HP, so I had exactly 97 HP max. So it was just like super borderline to go. I even took a detour in the Charlock basement to go get the Fighter's Ring. Unfortunately, doing so cost me a heal more because I discovered the Fun Police were there exactly at the door to the Treasury. If I had known that there were red dragons there, I might not have even taken the chance, but they decided to make me use one heal more, so it sort of balanced out.
I guess so.
But yeah, GG.
Yeah, no, yeah, good job.
Yep, GG for both of you. It's yeah, a lot of good stuff happening, and I think you are commentating a race later tonight, are you not, Jackimus? That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's the plan anyway.
Got another good one. I am going to go ahead and guess that that's happening on Randomania Prime. But yeah, 11 o'clock Eastern. You can hear Jackimus commentating on that one. Make sure you give a follow to all the people involved here. We got my partner, the Seawolf1. Thanks for commentating with me tonight. And CyberDark86, the tracker. And thanks also to Wolfman2000 for the restream. Appreciate everybody involved. Thanks for a great race, guys. That was fantastic. And you're going to move on to the quarterfinals now, Tristal, after kind of a rocky start to your tournament.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough the whole way. I'm really surprised I got through this round, honestly. Jackimus is a hell of an opponent. We've got lots of history. So, yeah, I'm pretty thrilled to make top 8 here. And I'm also pretty thrilled for Jackimus to be commentating the other match tonight. He's very, very talented at it, so it's super hype. You should make sure everybody in chat should go watch.
I have good word skill thingies.
See? He's great.
Very good. Well, great game to both of you guys. I guess we'll wrap it up here. Any final thoughts, the Seawolf?
Nope, just a good fast race, and yeah, we hurt more, negates kind of the weapons and the armor stuff. But the quick grind there got the shield, worked out pretty good. And yeah, you're literally 5 minutes behind. It's basically I would say the mechanics of the level changing between you having the strength agility and Tristal having the HP bonus actually kind of mitigated that whole thing. So that might have been the actual factor in this race.
That was a contributing factor.
Yep, I agree.
And I'm curious how often that actually comes into play. I think it's not common, but when it happens, it's definitely an issue. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll have some stats at the end of the tournament or something. Maybe somebody will like look at all the races that have happened and see how often that situation crops up. But
yeah, Game Boy F9 is pretty good for those kinds of crazy stats.
Yeah.
I mean, the short answer is agility is better more often, but when HP is better, it's better by several minutes.
Yeah, my understanding is that the way the stats kind of are curved towards endgame, you typically will have more than enough HP by the time you get the strength. I think the strength is almost always what lags behind. So every once in a while, though, because it's randomizer, you just have a low HP seed. So I'm just not sure how often it happens. But
yeah, I think it really just boils down to whatever you're more comfortable with. So
I like having big defense. The only issue is that all the nice defense broken enemies weren't showing up.
Yeah, I was definitely looking for some wizards in Charlock, and there were none to be found.
I think I had Stoneman defense broken whenever I finished, but yeah,
Good lord.
nothing was showing up. It was all Armored Knights the whole way down.
Yeah, I had a part in between after I had died to an Armored Knight. There were, I believe, I failed 6 runs in a row to an Armored Knight with 90 agility.
Yep, randomness is a funny thing.
Yeah, welcome to Randomizer, everyone.
And with that, I guess we will wrap it up and look forward to the next race later tonight at 11 p.m. And we have a couple of more races upcoming for the round of 16 on Tuesday evening and Wednesday evening on the schedule. So look out for those as well. Thanks everybody in chat also for watching. You guys rock. And yeah, so I guess that'll do it.
Let's go Bruins.
Have a good night, everybody.